Hello, there's something really important I need to tell you. And it's not an advertisement for a product or a course. It's merely a few words that will change the way you think about reality. I'm sure you've heard of the imposter syndrome. I'm sure you've seen people who put on disguises, act like somebody they're not. And I'm sure that you might be one of them. Whether you think you are or not, there's a high chance that you actually are. And the first step of eliminating that is to be aware. This video has one message, and one message only. Figure out who you are. Take the time to sit and think. No distractions, no phone, no video games, no nothing. Take the time to think, journal, meditate, do what you have to do. Figure out who you are. Because once you do, everything else in life is easy. I'm saying this because I've been gone for a few months trying to figure out who I am. Been on this earth for over 20 years, and for most of that time I was living a lie. I was being someone who I wasn't, and I didn't even know. Once I took the time to sit down and sort things out on paper, things became a lot clearer to me. It's like I felt my energy shift in that moment. Once I had that moment of realization, then everything changed for me. And it wasn't like things around me necessarily changed. It was just my perspective on life. And if you know anything about reality, you know that your perspective is reality. Starting this journey to figure out who I am, it not only enlightened me and gave me a new perspective, but it also empowered me. I feel different now. I feel stronger. I feel comfortable within myself. And the beauty in that is that we're all unique individuals, which means we have different strengths and different weaknesses. And so it's important that you find your strengths and play to your strengths. See, I love card games, and I'm a sole believer that you can still win even with a bad hand. But think about it like this: your hand isn't as bad as you think it is. It's probably just the way you see it. They're probably like, oh, I have a freaking 3 and an ace. Like, what am I gonna do with that? Or you have the ace, right? You can make something happen. And the thing is, you never know what life is gonna throw your way. There's a little poker reference. If you have that ace and that 3, the dealer could possibly flip another ace and maybe 2 more 3s. Then you got a full house. If you don't know exactly what that is, it's a pretty good hand, especially for what you already have. It's a decently winning hand, honestly. Also, if you haven't noticed, I cut my hair off. It feels so nice to feel my head like this again. But there was a reason, and identity shift was one of those reasons. There were many, but identity shift was one of those reasons. I'm not saying you have to cut your hair off. You don't have to do that. But just try to take the time to figure yourself out. Take at least 15 minutes to sit and think, no distractions. Write it down, jot it down. I say use paper. You can use your phone, but I think it's better to use paper. And just figure out, like, what are your likes, your dislikes? You know, what are your interests, your hobbies, your tendencies? You know, things like that. Core personality traits, things like that. And I find it really helpful in my everyday life, because then I can I identify my strengths. I identify what I do best and how, I guess, what my archetype is, right? And once you figure that out, then okay, now I can play. Because for all my game nerds, how are you going to play a position to its full ability if you don't know what position it is? You could have a sniper, but it's not going to work the best close range, you know what I'm saying? Or you could have a SMG. You're not going to one tap somebody from long range with an SMG. So you have to figure out what role you're playing, figure out what your archetype is, your strengths, and obviously your weaknesses as well, and play around that. And once you do, your perspective changes. Things change. They become a lot less hopeless, actually. Try it. Trust me, it will really help. With that being said, I'll see you later. Embrace infinity. Later.